to our Speakeasy Live from Bespoke Communications. My name is Sarah Travers. Delighted to have you here with us today for a very special Speakeasy Live on gender balance in the workplace. You'll see I've been joined by Anne O'Neill. Anne is the HR manager, the head of human resources at Alchemy Technology Services in Derry, Londonderry, and it is great to see you this morning. Were you employee number one at Alchemy Technology, Anne?
I was employee number one, really exciting. So yes, Alchemy was established back at the end of September 2018, Sarah, and as you said, we're based up in the northwest, up in Derry. I was employee number one, and very, very hot on my heels with employee number two, Sarah Canavan. And myself and Sarah, we lived in a cupboard for a number of weeks, and we organised, just the what was the beginnings of Alchemy. Really, really exciting. But I guess a lot of people might not necessarily know what we do. So we are in the insurtech sector. Really, right across the globe, insurance companies are making unprecedented investment in their in the digital transformation of their core systems and processes, Sarah. At Alchemy, what we do is we support that transformation process by providing some highly skilled resources. It's really it's on the back of changing customer demand. As customers for insurance companies, we want everything literally on the screen. We want everything on an app. So that's what we do, and we work with software partners, sometimes with systems integrators, and directly into insurance companies.
You're doing fantastic work up there and providing a wonderful service. I just want to talk to you now, though, about gender and equality, I suppose, and balance in the workplace. It is International Women's Day, and the theme this year is sort of, battling the bias. It is about making sure that we are addressing those biases. When you look at your employees at the minute, what's the ratio in there of male to female?
So currently our ratio sits at 75% male and 25% female, which, although that sounds, not great, actually for the industry that we're in, it's not bad, because the average for a tech would be around that 20% female. So we feel we're doing something right, but we actually would love to think that we can really move that figure up. So that's something that we have in our plans. Yeah.
So we've spoken a lot about why gender balance is good for business. How would you sum it up?
So honestly, I would say we recruit the majority of our people in through the DFE Shared Skills Academies. What that means, Sarah, is that every time we do a recruitment campaign, we would normally bring in people in groups of between 15 and 20 people. That's the majority of our employees. We do bring in additional people in other ways. But what that means is that those people are coming in as a group. They're learning as a group, they're training as a group, etc. And what has been really fascinating for us to watch is how each of those groups have differed depending on the numbers of women within the group. So the dynamics have been very, very different. We do find it really fascinating, and they do say that obviously we all know that there's a lot of talk at the minute about the more diversity you have, the stronger your teams will perform. But we've definitely seen that. I was really interested in that, and I've done some sort of reading around it myself, just nice casual reading as you do. But what it absolutely it does say that the women they introduce a higher degree of collaboration, and that's actually really important for us in what we do. So that's really nice. They also, what I thought was really interesting is they talk about women being more, they pick up on non-verbal cues better than their male counterparts. Therefore, they can see things that are happening around them quicker. What they say in conversations where there are more women, there's more people get opportunity to speak. Although I know a lot of people who would say that's not necessarily true. Some of the women I know, but that's the research is showing that, Sarah, and I think that's really interesting. And what that means is that more voices are being heard, and we're getting the value of more, everybody's knowledge and skills.
So that's really interesting in terms of the 2 points you mentioned there about collaboration and those reading of non-verbal cues, which both of which have been challenged, I suppose, during this last couple of years when we haven't been face to face.
I think that is definitely the case. I think it has, and I think it hasn't helped. It hasn't helped us as any of us to work within our teams, and I think it has made us think differently about maybe how what our employees need in terms of development. It has helped us to think more about what we as employers need to provide for our employees, but women in particular. I'm not necessarily, and I'm not sure. I don't necessarily think women will have struggled as much as our male counterparts, in that women are more likely to actually, have a conversation, have a chat with a colleague more so than the males. Therefore, I think that has helped. I think it has helped us females.
But also the pandemic, the research that's coming out now and the stats that are being gathered have shown that we were kind of making steps forward in terms of recruiting, and it's not even retention, it's about progression once you've recruited, isn't it? It's about, getting women to take that next leap, maybe into management or higher up the ranks, so to speak. But that definitely stalled, if not reversed, a bit during the pandemic, with all of those added responsibilities that still in this day and age tend to be picked up when there's caring involved by women.
Absolutely. And I think as a working mother, I honestly can say as well that it was, for that first sort of lockdown, the first, period of 6 months, I think, in 2020, they were incredibly difficult. And I think it did, it made a lot of maybe women reconsider what they were doing. We found that our recruitment during the pandemic, actually, we did have less women apply, so that absolutely did impact us. Part of that is I think that we weren't able to go out and do our road shows where we're able to go out and actually, sit with the women, sit and talk and explain what we do and really get them to understand, the benefits of being part of our organisation. And yes, I think more women were taking on carers roles, so I think they did take a step back.
Now, there are many people are probably joining us today that can relate to the problem of gender imbalance in the workplace. But, you didn't just rest on your laurels. You didn't just stay back and go, oh gosh, that's the situation. You've been starting on that journey of diversity and inclusion way back in 2018. But can you talk us through some of the initiatives that you have implemented?
Absolutely, Sarah. So yeah, although, as you say, diversity and inclusion has always been part of our plans, I think it was only in 2020 that we've made a very public declaration of our commitment to gender equality, and that was through by us signing up to the Diversity Mark NI award. So what that's done is that helped us to, I suppose, focus what our actions, what we were doing, and thinking about what we need to do to within Alchemy, and what we can do then to support the wider community, which is very much part of who we are at Alchemy. So some of the things, just to give it a flavour, some of the things that we have done, first thing we did was we appointed a senior board member to head up the D&I, albeit there's a few of us will be more accountable on the day-to-day basis. But I think that's really, really important to get the buy-in from your senior leadership. We're very lucky at Alchemy that we have that buy-in from the board, and they're really, really supportive of the women. Back in when we actually made our first application diversity mark, it was quite funny when you're actually writing down on paper and you're going, we have an all-male board. So at that point we did actually speak to, we as a board they chatted and said that they would make a commitment to change that. And I'm delighted to say that at the end of 2021, we appointed our first female board member. So that's been really, really good. And I think it's really good to have really strong role models. But some of the things that we've done that are actually more, that everybody can do. We spent some time reviewing our job adverts, our website, our social media messaging, and one of the things that we did, and again, we don't know. At this point we don't know how successful it's been. We'd like to think it's going to be, but we introduced some more softer colours. It's very hard colours, and I have to say, they were very. I'm not the word black and white, obviously, but they were just very definite colours. So we've added a softness. We've added softer lines into our social media posts, and we really hope that things like that will really help us to increase the females that might want to join. But again, retaining the staff. So one of the things we've looked at is we've reviewed our policies, and as a result of that, we've enhanced our maternity and paternity policies. Now, still not perfect, Camilla. There's still a long way to go, and but as we grow and evolve as an organisation, that's the kind of thing that we want to maybe review on an annual basis. Can we do better? Can we continue to improve on what we're currently offering? But yeah, so probably one of the biggest things we did was set up our Women at Alchemy group.
I'd love to talk to you more about that. And remember, anybody, for the next 15 minutes, Anne is here and she's going to actually tell you now about how she set up her Women at Alchemy group, obviously with great support coming from the board and now with a female member too. But remember, to ask a question, you have to subscribe to the Bespoke Communications YouTube channel. But so tell us, what is Women at Alchemy? Because that's really where we got involved with you.
Yeah. So we created the Women at Alchemy group because a few of the women had approached me themselves, and they had or through their mentors, and it's come along and said like they'd really like some development in communication skills, presentation skills, and just really all things I think related to confidence.
Yeah.
And they felt that it was a female thing, they felt that there was something holding the females back. So there was that, and then the other thing that we do, and I'll talk about very, very quickly, is that we have a very untraditional method of people putting themselves forward for promotion within Alchemy. So we do like to be different. And we just ripped away all the sort of traditional annual appraisals, things like that. We don't do any of that. And people, if they want to be promoted, they put themselves forward for one of 6 annual panels. And whenever they feel they're ready, they come along, they talk about their achievements, their contribution, and how they feel that they believe that they actually are or could be operating at a higher level. So they kind of pitch their own case. So one of the things was our CEO felt was that in all his working career, that the only person who wasn't in the room when you were talking about promotion, pay awards, was the actual person.
Yeah, totally.
So we've turned it on its head, and we're saying you come forward when you're ready. But I actually had some concerns. Fantastic idea, I loved it. But some concerns that the women would be less likely to actually put themselves forward, that less likely to think that they're ready for that next stage.
Or the inner critic kicks in and the imposter syndrome, and they talk themselves out of it.
Absolutely, Sarah. So one of the things we thought is we need to get a group together. We need to get the women together, and we want to develop a program that really to support the women, and that's where obviously Bespoke Communications came in. I was very, very lucky in that I had been involved in a couple of courses through Women in Business, and met yourself and Camilla, and I thought no better women to work with us and really support our Women at Alchemy. So we got together, and as you know, we obviously we we talked about what we needed. You talked about what your experience was and what you could bring, and together we created our own bespoke program, which has been running. It's still ongoing. We had a 6 sessions lead up to Christmas and 6 sessions post Christmas. We run them as a 1 hour long workshop, and we run them at lunchtimes, and that's really so people, it's not eating into people's time as much. People can bring their lunch along, and we do tend to. We are sitting eating lunch while we're listening to Camilla and Sarah. But yeah, really interactive sessions. But everything that we're doing, and you've talked about a bit there about that imposter syndrome, about just building confidence. About more recently, we're talking about having difficult conversations about how do you approach those. But it's not just your professional life. Everything we're covering, and I think the beauty of what we're doing is it's helping people in their personal life as well.
There's such an overlap, really, and if people, people have so much going on in their lives, and it also gives people an opportunity to reflect, because I notice when we take the courses on, you'll have people who are hugely engaged and they want to answer all of the questions, and others who are taking it away with them, literally eating their lunch, absorbing and then taking it away. And maybe it's subtle changes that they need to make, and it usually is, isn't it? It's like a tweak here and there, or a change of mindset always about how they view a challenging situation.
I think so. I think you're absolutely right, Sarah. I think that's the important thing is we're all very different. What motivates me and what really talks to me is not necessarily what's going to talk to the next person. So I think that's the beauty of the course is I think there is something for everybody, and you've given us so many tools. Forget about we've come along, we do the workshops, but you give us all these tools to take away. And genuinely, I know there are girls that have their, we talk about the Albert Ellis, and they have their ABCs stuck up on beside them, and there's things, we all, it's just maybe learning to take a big deep breath before you react, before you say something, and we're all human, and you will all make mistakes along the way. We're not perfect, but it's just
it gives you the reframing tools. Albert Ellis was one of the founder really of the cognitive behavioral therapy that will allow you to change how you view a threatening or challenging situation. So that is difficult that they've all got them stuck up there, just helping you to reprogram maybe negative thought processes or default behaviors that aren't serving you well. So it's great to hear that those are being used, and even the Mel Robbins technique of count to 5 and then go for it. Get all your ducks in a row beforehand, do your prep, and then own your own space. I know a lot of the women in the Women in Alchemy group are very young, aren't they? So they're very, very impressive. And what I love about Alchemy is that trust that you've given us as Bespoke Communications to come in and with you tailor this course, but also trust that we will deliver, and trust in the women who come on the course. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff there, and we've done it all virtually, which has been brilliant as well. So again, it doesn't take people away from work, but there's breakout rooms, and you can go as deep as you want to go really, and share as much as you want to share, but it probably gives everybody new perspectives on their colleagues. And I think the big thing that we're learning as well, Anne, more and more when it comes to diversity and inclusion, and not just about gender here, is it's that quiet person that doesn't normally engage. We're hearing more from the voices of people who don't normally get heard, and that's vitally important in terms of self-care, mental health, well-being in the workplace, which has really been a crisis point during the last couple of years in many organisations.
Absolutely, Sarah. And I think you touched on a point which I think has been really important. I think it's probably one of the biggest things that we've got out of, for me, maybe not for everybody, but it is that when we've had the breakout rooms, you've got that hour, that opportunity to connect with your colleagues,
networking.
We've learned so much about our colleagues, things that might never know, and it's just so nice that actually it's helping people to feel that they belong. that all of a sudden maybe they had something going on in their life or things were happening that other people weren't aware of, and they felt confident and they felt trust in their colleagues to actually, say it. And it is nice. I think it's helping everybody to be that wee bit more authentic.
We love that you've asked us to come in and work with the women at Alchemy. Are any early indicators there that it's actually making a difference? Because there'll be a lot of people here going, okay, if we're going to pay for something like this, we want to see progression. Is it too early to say, or are there any things that are standing out?
Necessarily think it's too early to say. I think it is for the long term, health of our women. But since we've been launched, we talk about the promotion process, we do that sort of data analysis where we review who's put themselves forward, who's actually being successful, and we're delighted to say that the women are stepping up, they are putting themselves forward. I think what the development program has given us that wee bit of confidence. And one thing that you've talked quite regularly is about that growth mindset, and really believing in yourself and just challenging yourself at all times. And what I will say is that we have we have a progression model in place where people move from what we call bronze, silver to gold. At the minute, our highest level where we have employees is gold 2. And I'm delighted to say that one of those employees out of 2 employees is a woman. And she's just flying the flag and being a fantastic role model for all the other women. And we have quite a few of our women just working their way up through the organisation. So that's really lovely to see.
That's really lovely to hear as well, and fantastic. And it's great to hear that it is actually making a difference. And there are new opportunities, hopefully now that the restrictions are easing a bit, to get back out to showcase. I'm a woman. I work in the technology sector, and you can't be what you can't see, and all of that. So you're getting those role models back out to talk to maybe employees of the future.
Absolutely, Sarah. So one thing, and I think it was a tough thing for employers, is that the educational outreach side of things just kind of fell away during COVID. I know some people managed to still connect with the schools if they had built up relationships, but we're actually involved in a couple of things at the minute, a vocational skills thing that we're working on with a local high school. But one of the really, really exciting things that we're involved in at the minute is a project called Tech Champions. And what we're doing is, along with Startagus and Revolve Comics here in Derry and the Derry City and Strabane District Council, we are creating a Marvel type comic where we showcase 5 local people and their journeys into tech. 2 of those local people will be employees from Alchemy, 1 male, 1 female, and then we've got 2 really strong other females in the comic as well. So it's really exciting. The comics will go out in digital form and in physical form to the schools, and then we're going to have a follow-up in-person event with some of the school children.
So many exciting things happening. It's wonderful. Other people might be wondering, maybe some of their HR managers are joining this or are watching this after the recording, getting buy-in from the women themselves or anybody on a training course. That's always one of those things you think, gosh, how has that been for you?
So I'm not going to say perfect. I would love to say everybody, but for me, sometimes that can be the real frustrating thing, is that you're offering a lot, things to the women, and they don't all turn up, and you can be a bit frustrated around that. But I guess quite often we hear, I'm too busy on project, whatever. But I think it's important that it's about empowering the women to know that it's okay to take time out. We kind of put a lot of these things down to that self-care. We talk about one things that we talk about amongst the women, and the men here too. They're now asking, what are you talking about? We talk about the 3-legged stool, the relationships, your work, and your social aspect to your life. And it's really important that you engage in some of these projects to help you to feel balanced. So quite often, if you're not feeling that great, we'll just say, I'm feeling a wee bit wonky today. We all know what we're talking about. We're talking about our stool, but it's nice. So last week, for example, we attended the Women in Tech conference. It was on last Friday in the Titanic Centre in Belfast, and what a fantastic day! Just great to get out. Oh my goodness, meet people. It was great, but really, that opportunity was offered right across the board to all the women in Alchemy. That's a lot of billable hours, for us to get approved. But we didn't get any pushback whatsoever from our CEO or CFO, who just went. In actual fact, the night before, I got a text from the CFO who just said, Anne, have a great day tomorrow. Tell all the girls, enjoy themselves, and have a lovely day at the conference.
Isn't that amazing to hear? And that's what we really need. And that's not just for women, but there is something about hearing stories and experiences and journeys of other women that kind of demystify and debunk all of the imposter syndrome ideas that we might have. That's like, I actually, the self-belief piece. If they can do it, then I can do it. So it has to change. I mean, obviously there are diversity and inclusion strategies in organisations now, but it has to be so much more than a box ticking exercise.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things, and one of the Women in Business courses, I'm giving them a good plug today, but one of the courses I was in for Christmas was around diversity and inclusion. And one of the things we talked about was the difference between diversity and inclusion. And I think what's important to remember is you can offer as many, you can introduce as many courses, you can make your teams as diverse as possible, but actually the people want to be included. So they talk about diversity as being invited, invited to the disco, but inclusion is being asked to dance. So that's the difference. And I think, so what we need to do is we need to encourage our women to want to contribute in whichever way they feel comfortable, to actually want to be included, and without it being sound corny, to actually to be involved in the dance.
Step up, show up, dance, and party the night away, really. Thank you very, very much for joining us on the Speakeasy Live. I must say, Camilla and I are absolutely loving working with the women at Alchemy. And if you're interested in seeing what Bespoke Communications can do for you to either tailor a program for the women in your organisation, we'd love you to get in touch. Bespoke Communications also runs many different courses to help empower and improve confidence for anybody. Powerful presentation skills and resilience programs. We do these in conjunction with Northern Ireland Chamber and Women in Business. So do check out their websites or the Bespoke Communications website to find out more. And you can reach out to Camilla and myself on LinkedIn. Thank you again to the team at Alchemy. Continued success. It's been great to see you, and I hope you're all enjoying that gorgeous sunshine today. It makes such a difference on the first day of spring. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Anne.
Bye.